So today we're in my garden again. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like now that's been a couple months since I did my last video. We've had a lot of change. So yeah, let's just go into it. So I used to have some different potato plants. I'm gonna flip this around. So down here, this is one of my potato plants, my golden potatoes. Sadie, all done. We actually used to have another bag of this, but it died off, so I just pulled the potatoes out. Only got like 5 potatoes. This one actually might not give me a ton. I'm not sure because it's not growing on the back end, which is interesting. It's only growing on the front. I think it just wants the sun there. Also, the back part got hit by some rot and died, so hopefully it still grows there and they just expand. We got my sweet potatoes. They were trying to grow outwards. I think they vine outwards to the sides, like this way and this way. But I didn't want them to do that, so I got a trellis and put them upwards, and they went up. And then didn't have any place to go, so I just decided to get some strings and tie it to my fence. We'll see if they James Bond all the way over there. They're already starting to wrap around. And I have one going up to the light of my house, and he's starting to go up there too. So I'm excited to see what happens with those guys. But those are some sweet potatoes. They'll be getting some good ones there. Actually, the nice thing about putting it upwards too is that it starts to lose the leaves down below. It makes it really easy to water because you don't have to worry about getting like water on the leaves as much on these ones. And I've noticed as it starts to grow up, it starts to lose the leaves down below. I think to continue growing maybe. So that's been interesting to see. First time I've ever done sweet potatoes. These are my bell pepper plant. This thing really shot up. Got some big peppers on here now. Look at this. Look at that mega pepper right here. We're just waiting for them to change colors, then we can start to, there's multiple peppers all across here. Lots of bugs like this guy. But luckily I haven't had too many bug attacks on him recently. Got a nice, really thick stem there. So he's really sturdy. And I put a trellis on him just to make sure he doesn't fall over. We've been having some major windstorms. My tomato plants, I was in Canada and they got attacked by some caterpillars. So they've been thinned out pretty hard. But they're producing lots of tomatoes. And you can see some of the leaves are not doing this. I gotta do some trims here. But we got some good tomatoes. Actually, good harvest today. Me and my son Oliver are gonna have to do some picking because he loves to pick tomatoes and bite into them. I got lots of little tomatoes. So tasty. Love to be able to walk out in the garden and just have some fresh tomatoes. So those are the main plants. We got some other plants on the side here. This is my new garden area. Our ground's not very fertile, but I did a lot to try to make it more fertile. And this is only the first year of it. So what I'm planning on doing is at the end of the year, I'm going to take all my plants and I'm going to dig a hole in here and put them underneath the ground so they can start to decompose and hopefully bring more nutrients back to the soil. I already did that over here. Actually, I used to have pumpkins over there, but they all died. This is the only thing I have left out of that pumpkin, and it's just barely. They were vining out like crazy before, flowering and stuff, but yeah, I got another little pepper plant back there, little tomato. Literally everything in that part of the garden is honestly not doing too good. It definitely needs a lot more nutrients, and I knew that about my soil, right? So this is kind of more just like, that garden area is more just like a practice, just kind of like experiment and say, you know, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do and test out. And I think that's where I have a lot of fun with gardening, is just kind of like winging it and going my own way and seeing how it turns out and then adjusting it and getting better next year, right? So yeah, that's my garden. It's pretty simple. I recommend getting a garden and just growing a little something, testing it out. It's really cool, and it's very rewarding to be able to go out and just grab the food that you grew yourself, and then you know exactly what's on that food. I don't put any pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and make sure the soil is clear, right? Because what I put in my body is really important to me. And honestly, it's amazing to be able to grow your own food. So I send my food lots of love, my plants lots of love. And I really enjoy doing it with my son too. He gets to experience that. And if you're doing potatoes, a really nice way to do it is those grow bags. Because once you're done with the grow bags, all I did was just my grow bag. I dumped it right in, like right over here, and then just dug through it, grabbed out the potatoes, and I was done. So much nicer than having to like dig into the ground and try to find the potatoes in the ground, right? Very quick, very nice. And they grew pretty well, so I think the major mistakes I've made with potatoes is when I plant them, they grow so fast and don't usually have the mulch ready for once they get past a certain point. And the reason why the mulch is important for potatoes specifically is because if water splashes back off the soil onto the plants, a lot of times it gets blight, and then the plant itself, like the leafy green part of it, starts to die off. Like you can kind of here on this one, like in between, there's like this part right here that's like dead almost entirely, right? Luckily, there's another sprout down below that grew up, and this is the part right here. But this part is very like dead, and they used to have a bunch of leaves on it. And there's multiple ones like that. Like there's another one right here that does it. So that's something to be aware of. The tomato plants too, they get the blight as well. And that's actually what happened with this, the leaves on plant here. That's what's happening here is they got the blight. So I got to cut off those parts, trim them, so they don't die on me. But yeah, I think gardening is a great experience you can do to get yourself out into nature and to start exploring more of the world, especially if you haven't been much of a gardener. It doesn't take very long, right? You can grab these grow bags. I think I got like an 8-pack of them for $30 online. And then just went out to get some soil, and actually a lot of my stuff, like my potatoes, like we have some potatoes, golden potatoes. We didn't eat them all. They started to grow out the eyes, right? The actual roots for the potatoes. And so what I did is just cut the potatoes into little like quarters and make sure there was a eye on each side and planted the eye up into the soil. And before I know it, I had potato plants, right? And that worked last year too. I did the same thing with a sweet potato this time. It takes longer for the sweet potatoes to get the eyes. And then the peppers, I just had some peppers from the store, took the seeds out and grew them myself. The tomatoes, I did have some seeds that were given to me, but you know, I'm really practicing on making sure I'm self-reliant on myself relying on myself for my garden, be able to like renew it every year with the seeds that I'm able to collect. Because I know that if something ever happened, then I'd be able to have more of that experience of planting from seed and be able to work from seed. And I've been planting right into the soil outside, not starting inside its own little container and then moving it, just going right into the soil and watching the seeds grow. Didn't have any luck with the jalapenos this year, but I was hoping for some jalapenos. I like some spicy food, but we'll see next year. But that was my garden. If you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys about the garden. And if you guys have any tips, I know I'm not like a professional gardener or anything. I told you guys, I'm kind of a noob. I'm just kind of feeling my way around the garden. I do have some books that I'm starting to read, but honestly, I don't have a ton of knowledge within the garden. So if you guys see something maybe I did wrong or have some helpful advice or tips, I'd love to hear it from you guys. And thank you guys for watching and supporting my channel. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your day.